Hi everyone, welcome back to Bringing More to the Table. Today I'm going to be making a delicious crustless broccoli and cheese quiche, and we're going to get started here, and I'm going to let you know what my ingredients are. So today my ingredients are 8 large eggs. These are large, you can use whatever size you have, but large eggs work the best. I have 2 cups of shredded cheese, and this is a mixture of marble cheese with extra old. And I've got about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of broccoli. This is 1 head of broccoli. And I did cook it first in the microwave to soften it because you don't want your broccoli hard in your quiche. 1/2 cup of chopped onion, 3/4 cup of 50/50 cream, and 1 clove of garlic. So I'm going to get started by cooking my onion in 2 tablespoons of olive oil until it's soft and translucent. And I am going to add the garlic into that once the onion is almost done, because if you add your garlic too soon, it will burn. So you don't want your garlic to burn. All right, so we're going to get started. Okay, so I'm going to put my onion into my pan here. I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. And I did turn this on to let it heat just a little bit before you put the onions in. That way they'll won't absorb as much of the oil if they're cold. So just put those right into your frying pan. Scrape them in. And now this is going to take probably maybe 5 minutes or so, depending how hot you have your burner. But you don't want it too hot, so you probably want to cook these on a medium heat so they cook nicely. And then once they're just getting close to being done, you're going to put that clove of garlic in there and finish cooking them. So I'm going to say about 5 minutes or so to get this cooked. So, and I did chop my onion in a little food processor. You can just chop it up by hand. You don't have to do that. But this way your pieces aren't really large in your quiche, and they'll just add a nice flavor, and you won't be getting a big chunk of onion when you're eating your quiche. So we'll let these cook. And once I've got them halfway done, I'll come back and we'll get the garlic in, and then I'll show you how they look. Okay, so my onions have been cooking for about 2 minutes, and they're cooking quite nicely, and they are starting to get that translucent look to them. And when they're cut smaller, they don't take as long to cook. So I'm just going to get my clove of garlic in there, 1 clove of garlic, and this is a large clove, so if you have smaller ones, use 2 smaller ones, or however many you like. I'm only going to use 1. And this does give your quiche a nice flavor. And be careful when you're adding your spices to your quiche as well. I'm only going to put salt and pepper in mine because I've got a clove of garlic. And I'm not going to put a lot of salt either because cheese is really salty. So you want to be careful not to over salt. You can salt it on your plate or pepper it as well. So I would say for salt wise, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and for pepper, maybe 1/2 teaspoon. And then you can always pepper to your own tastes. But some people don't like a lot of spice, and so it's better if you don't over season in the beginning. But do put some in there because you want it to be flavorful as well. And this is really nice and flavorful with the onion and the garlic in here, and the cheese and the broccoli, because broccoli is kind of bland tasting, but it's very good for you as well. So, and this is a nice healthy quiche. There's no crust on it, and everything that's in it is heart healthy and low carb, so it is a very nice recipe to make. And it takes an hour to bake once you get everything done at 350 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to get these finished up, and then we'll be back to do the eggs. All right, now, so my onions and garlic are cooked. I've just got them sitting here in the frying pan. Let them cool a little bit before you add them in with your eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up my eggs here. So as I said, I have 8 large eggs in my bowl. And I'm just going to get these whipped up, and then I'm going to add in my cream. Now, if you don't have cream or don't like cream, you can use milk, but I find cream makes it a little more richer tasting and not as liquidy like milk does. So we'll just get that 3/4 cup of cream into there, get this whipped up really nicely, and and infuse all your ingredients together. So just whip that up. And hand beater is great. If you don't want to use a hand beater, you can certainly use a hand mixer. That works well too. So just whip those really well. And then I'm going to add the onion into this and some of my cheese, and reserve a little bit of your cheese for the top of your quiche. And feel free, you can add whatever you like to this, really. If you like tomatoes or mushrooms, you can add anything into it. And sometimes I make one of these with spinach as well. Spinach and onion is very nice, and you can add a little bit of bacon to that one. And you could add bacon to this one too, but I'm just going to do a meatless one today. So I'm just going to put my onion and garlic right into the egg mixture, and I'll get that mixed in. And then I'm going to put a little bit of cheese in there after I mix this up. And then this way everything gets mixed in as well and gets those flavors together. Now I'm not going to put the broccoli in this. I'm going to take my broccoli and I'm going to put it into my dish. And I did spray this with a cooking spray so that your quiche does not stick. So just put your broccoli right in there and give it a spread, spread it around. And as I said before, I did cook this broccoli for about 6 minutes in the microwave to soften it. If you don't cook it, it won't be as soft in your quiche, and it'll probably still be a little hard. So it's better just to cook it, just to soften it, and then put it in your pan, and then put your eggs and cheese, and then right into the oven at 350. So I'll just get this mixed in. I'm gonna put about half of my cheese into the egg mixture here. And as I said, this is 2 cups of cheese of extra old that I used and marble. And so I'll put half of this in, and then the other half I will use to put on the top while it's baking. And the other thing you could do is, if you like tomatoes, you could cut some fresh tomato and put it on top of this after you get the cheese on, and that's really nice too. And now, since there's no crust for this, it is going to come out nice and crispy after it's cooked, because it's going to cook for an hour. So it will come out nice and crispy, your mixture. And then just spread this out around, and I'm going to put the rest of the cheese on top so it has a nice top to it. And this looks great, and it's super simple, nice dinner. You can have it for dinner, save it for breakfast. If you don't have an oven, you could cook it in a toaster oven as well at 350 degrees. So very simple, easy, nutritious dinner. And it's great the next day for leftovers for a breakfast, or even if you want it for a brunch, if you're having company, it's great that way too. So let me get the rest of my cheese on top of that. And it already looks good, smells great. So just put your cheese on there, spread it out around. And as I said, if you like, you could put some sliced tomatoes on top of this. And yeah, and it's great. So delicious for whatever you would like to have it for. Okay, so that looks perfect. So this is going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for 1 hour. It does need that hour to bake, and it is going to puff up as it bakes. So it shouldn't overflow. But if you like, you can put a pan underneath it just in case. I'm not going to put a pan today, so I will get this into my oven, 350 degrees for 1 hour. And there we go. And that's it. So we'll see you when it's done. Okay, so it's been an hour. My quiche is done. I'm going to take it out of the oven. And it did bake for an hour at 350 degrees. Nice and hot. And I did go back about halfway through and I put some tomatoes on it. I just cut up some little tomatoes and put it right on top. And as you can see, it's nice and fluffy. And that's the eggs when they're cooking. They do rise and puff up. Now, once this cools down, it is going to flatten out. So let it cool for maybe 5 to 10 minutes before you cut it. It smells delicious. That's the garlic you can smell in there. Just got to shut my timer off. And as you can see as well, once the camera comes back down here, you can see it did get nice and crunchy and caramelized, and that's from the cooking spray and the cheese. So even though this quiche does not have a crust, when you cut it, it's going to have the texture of a crust and be very good. So I hope you'll give this a try. It's very good. Thank you for watching my video. Like and subscribe, and I'll show you once I cut this as well. So I'll see you. Okay, so my quiche has been cooling now for about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. So I'm going to cut into it, and it is nice and crispy. And use a sharp knife to cut through. So I'm just going to cut a piece here. Take that out, and I'm going to put it right onto a plate. And it looks like it came out very nice, very tender, and very nice. So you can see that there, hot and steamy. This does smell delicious, and as you can see along the edge, it's nice and crispy. And it is almost like a crust, except without the crust. So gluten-free, low-carb, heart-healthy, delicious quiche for a nice snack or dinner, brunch, whatever you may choose. Hope you give this recipe a try. Thank you for watching my video. See you again.